Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back with episode number five already for Entrepreneuring 101, and it's been a cool ride. We've got to meet a lot of great entrepreneurs and heard a great advice from them. But today is a great day for everyone that lives out here in the Antelope Valley. You know, we're coming from the valley, and right about Acton area, you see this big sign, big blue sign says KISTLER Law Firm. And then you come up to Pure Blossom, you see another big sign, KISTLER Law Firm. Well, today we have the man himself, Mr. Paul KISTLER from KISTLER Law Firm. So let's not hold him up any much longer and get him online. Here we go. Paul, Mr. KISTLER, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Bandito.
Hey, I was talking to a lot of people, and I go, hey, I'm going to have Mr. KISTLER on, the guy with the big signs, and, coming up to the valley, you see the KISTLER Law Firm, you see the signs, and everyone's like, oh, the guy with the beautiful three girls that go everywhere and promote for him.
Yes, that's the guy. I try to stay out of the picture. I try to hide myself. This is one of the few times you'll actually see me. I try to have other people out there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but you know what? It's and everyone says the same thing. Everyone says that you do a lot for up here, the community, for the Antelope Valley. Christmas time, your staff was out there giving out the baskets with goodies in them, and pretty much every holiday, big event, you're always out there, helping the community, which is really, really honorable in your part. But what I really want people to understand is, yes, you are a lawyer. You are one of the highest ranked automobile lawyers out here in the Antelope Valley and pretty much in Southern California. I did look you up. So it came up as one of the high ranking good automobile lawyers. But I want you to share with us, how did it all begin? Paul KISTLER, where did Paul grow up? What made you become a lawyer? And all this, tell us. Let's rewind the video here and go back to when Paul was 16 years old.
Okay. Well, I know we talked about this a little bit off stage before we started here, but I grew up in the San Fernando Valley in North Hills. I'm originally from Canoga Park, and it's very much like the Antelope Valley. Okay, so I can relate to people up here. In fact, I feel like I can relate to people up here better than I can the Valley nowadays, because this feels like what I grew up with. And my dad was an aircraft mechanic. He was probably like a lot of people here. My mother didn't work. We didn't have a lot of money, and nobody in my family went to college or school. They did go on beyond high school. So I was the first one to go on from college. And as I was telling you, I really wasn't a great high school student. I played basketball and goofed around like everybody else, and I wasn't that focused. Later on, I went to Kennedy High School, by the way, and later on, I had a little bit of chance to go out, see the world a little bit, and it dawned on me that, maybe it's a good idea for me to get an education. I've been working hard jobs, and I realized maybe it might not be a bad thing. So I did. I went into Cal State Northridge, which Cal State Northridge, I'm sure a lot of people out here go through a very similar route. They go to school out here at the Antelope Valley. I know I've had people work in my office. They go to school at the junior college, which is a great way to do it. I had the same experience. I went to Cal State Northridge, a local school, like a lot of people here, and I ended up going to law school. And the truth of the matter was, over my head, I felt like a fish out of water for a while. But most of the people there seemed to be smarter, better connected, and all those things when I got in there. But I survived. Okay, so I would say this. You know what? Most of you are just like me. You do, if you want to do something, you can do it. Okay. Now the tough part was, after I got out of law school, I didn't have any connections. My parents weren't, most of these kids, their dads were lawyers or judges and things, and they had jobs lined up. I didn't have anything. So as it turned out, I had a friend of mine from law school. We both just graduated, literally we both passed the bar, and we went out and just opened up our own practice right from the start, which is something that probably a lot of these people out here, that's what they're thinking about doing or started.
So you had just graduated school, and you and your buddy said, "Hey, you know what? Screw it. Let's open up our own office." And you just jumped at it. How did that go?
Not well. I would not recommend it. In fact, I was telling my oldest son about that recently. And by the way, he's a attorney. He just became an attorney in January, and he thought I'm complete. He can't believe how insane that idea was. It really was. My friend had a little bit of experience while he was in law school working with immigration law, and I had some experience with personal injury law, but not a lot. Okay, none of us knew that much about it, and none of us had any real experience in business or actually working as lawyers. We just became lawyers. None of us had any money, so we opened an office with no money, no experience, and we didn't have a plan either. By the way. I mean, none of us really say, hey, these are all things that I would tell anybody now. If they came to me, I would say, you need those things to get started. But we didn't. And shockingly, I'm not saying it worked great because it was a very tough road. I'll just tell you, for the first, really 10 to 15 years, it was a tough struggle. It really was. And so I think I would suggest for people going out there, it would probably be smart to have I didn't know about that there was resources out there. I had no idea. We just we didn't have the internet back then, by the way, because this is 30 years ago. There was no internet, and I really didn't know. My friend knew a little bit more about business than I did, but the reality is we didn't know what to do. Now, luckily I did meet a lawyer, and that's another thing that you need to think about is this. You need to get a mentor. Okay, so the people out there, if you're thinking about opening your own law office, find somebody that does what you do, okay? There's a lot of people, believe it or not, that are older than you, that have been around for a long time in this business, that are willing to help you, okay? And so that's something to think about, because I did manage to find somebody that did help me out, within a couple of years, and that probably saved me, because if I didn't have that, it would have been disastrous. But somebody to show you the ropes, and trust me, people are willing to do that all the time. In fact, I help young lawyers all the time. I get them. I'm always willing to. In fact, I never think of it as competition. I always think about it as giving back, just like we're talking about giving back to the community. I think that's something that we should do.
That's totally awesome, because in all the conversations we've had with entrepreneurs, the first thing they say is you need a mentor. And that's so true. You need someone to help you, guide you, to answer your advice, questions and everything, because it's one thing learning school, and I think I was really bad in high school. And one of the things I think that high school does not teach you is life. They teach you education. In high school, I wish that they had more of a life course of what's actually going to face once you walk out that school. And I think it was awesome that you guys jumped at it. You went gung ho and opened your office. But like you said, it was not the right time. And if you had a mentor, he would probably talk you out of it, and he probably would have laughed.
Well, that's it. That's exactly right. I think it's also a part that you need somebody there. It's two things. One, to be honest, anytime you're an entrepreneur, and I don't know, I could probably talk to anybody out there who's listening that has an idea or whatever. There's a lot of people that are going to discourage you, because it's very easy to poke holes in their dream. I could say, are you crazy? And I could show you all the reasons that you're going to fail. And I guarantee a lot of them are probably valid. There's probably reasons why you're not doing it. But you need to take that leap of faith and believe in yourself. You need to say, look, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be tough. But I think that all entrepreneurs have that ability to take those risks, to step out in faith. And I think a lot of people, most of the population doesn't have that, they just aren't willing to do that. Let's face it. And that's why that's just why there's not as many entrepreneurs out there. There's not as many business owners out there. There's a lot of workers. There's not as many people, there's employees, but not everybody wants to take those chances, because you're not guaranteed a check. You're not guaranteed a paycheck. You don't know whether or not you're blowing the money, if you have responsibilities, kids, wife, all these things. It's a very tough thing. And so I get it. Now, the other thing I would say is, besides getting a mentor, is, and I don't know whether they've talked about this, is I've learned later that you need to do a business plan. And it's very important that you really take that look at your whole thing. Like, sit down there and go, gee, okay, I'm going to do this, but how am I going to accomplish this? What I've got here, what are my expenses going to be? What's my marketing plan going to be? how am I going to, where do I need to get a location? Where's that going to be? Am I going to be in this side of Palmdale, that side of Palmdale? And by the way, just to mention that we're moving our offices to, we're going to be moving our offices to the middle of town. We're going to be in Palmdale. We're going to be off of Avenue N, right in the corner of Avenue N and 11th Street West. We just bought a building there, a very nice building. We're going to do an open house, and we want to. And if you happen, we're moving in there. Probably should be in by the 1st of July. So we're kind of excited about that too. So, but just basically you need to find out where you're going to be, what you're going to do, and like you said, the area and the people that you're going to serve. What community is it? Who are your customers going to be, and who are your clients going to be? So all that's in your business plan.
Right. So how did you learn all that of creating a business plan? Because like we said, you came out college, you passed your bar exam, and you went into business. At what point did you say, hey, we need a business plan?
I said that incredibly late. so basically, I had no idea, did not go to business school, which I regret. But I mean, on one hand, I had no education as far as really, I really knew nothing. I knew nothing about business, and so I shouldn't have been running a business. And I didn't even know about business plans, okay? I think what happened was my former partner, he ended up, after about 5 or 6 years, he left and he started he does a website for lawyers. He started a business. He's very successful, by the way. He left he does my website. If you look, we got a very nice website. He did it. His company did that. He's the one that we were talking, and he said, you really need to sit down and go now. You've already been doing this for a while, but it's not too late. And to sit there and formulate. And once I realized that, I said, oh yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. So I think I waited probably about 10 years. Okay, if you can believe that. So wow. I stumbled along for 10 years, and I was doing criminal defense work, and I was doing a personal injury law. And for some reason, I survived. I mean, I was able to do that. I did learn the practice really well. It's just I really had a business that was doing kind of shaky. And quite frankly, a lot of lawyers are like that. I've seen so many since that were basically, feast or famine. You get a big retainer from somebody and you blow the money and you just live like that, And that's not the right way to do it. I don't do that anymore, but I didn't know any better. Now, I will say this. I did have a mentor out here. I came out here in 2006 is when I came out of Antelope Valley. And so I've been practicing for about maybe 15 years or so. Now, I wasn't doing horrible, but I never really felt that the business side of my practice was very good. I always had a lot of issues with things. I never really felt comfortable because I really hadn't sit there and really done the stuff that I think people should do now. And most of us don't. I mean, let's face it. There's tons of people here. They've got a good restaurant. You love their food. You go in there, but they've got a guy, he's doing all the work. He's cooking and stuff, and he doesn't really know what's going, he doesn't market his business. He doesn't know, he doesn't really watch his expenses and things. And sometimes they unfortunately go out of business, and you go, what happened? The guy had the best tacos in town, he was making the best food. He had tamales that are wonderful. Or the guy had, the best pizza. The problem is he didn't understand business. And that's why a lot of businesses fail. And I could have been one of those casualties, to be honest with you. So yeah. I did.
And how did you end up in the Antelope Valley?
Well, that's a good story. Now, I don't want to give a shout out to one of my competitors, but Walt Kuzik of Kuzik Law, who's a good friend of mine. He's an older gentleman. He's been here for a long time. He talked me into coming out here, working for him for a couple of years. And so I came out here. And I was kind of thinking, gee, the Antelope Valley, I've been eyeballing the Antelope Valley for quite a while because I didn't live that far from it. But I just thought this is a place I really like. And I even looked out here before I ended up meeting up with him. I've been looking out here because this felt more like the San Fernando Valley was when I was younger. It felt more comfortable. The valley's changed a lot. And so I feel like I fit in more with this. Actually, I was in Glendale for quite a while. But I came out here, and Walt Kuzik, who's still practicing now, he's pretty old, he became kind of a mentor to me out here, and quite frankly was very good sitting down. We had lots of conversations and about business, and he explained a lot of things. areas that I had holes in my practice, that I wasn't doing, which I felt I needed. I didn't really understand. He was very good about working with me. And to be honest with you, there was a lot of things that I was doing right. I just didn't know that I was doing them right. I didn't understand everything. And that's what I think could be a problem with people, is that you just go, well, this is kind of working, but I don't know why, or this is kind of good. And then when you sit back and go, hey, that was pretty smart, I was doing the right thing, you kind of need that assurance, It's very easy to doubt yourself. And so
Right.
that was a mentor that I had out here. And quite frankly, it made a big difference. So I am grateful to Walt. Come to our office, not Walt's, but the truth matters, we are very good friends. In fact, Walt is very gracious, by the way, he was a mentor. Even when I was in my office out here, if I called him up and said, hey, I got a question about this, or what do you think about this? In a second, he will, hey, let's have lunch, let's talk about it, And so that's the way people should work. And they work like that out here in the Antelope Valley. There's lawyers out here that I know that work like that. And that's the way the businesses should be. We don't necessarily have to compete. We're all friends out here. We're all family, and we can work together. It doesn't have to be dog eat dog like it is in LA. It can be different, I mean, there's plenty of people to serve out here, and there's not that many lawyers out here. That's a good thing. There's not that many of us, so we can help each other, and so we usually do have good relationships. And I think it's important. Like I said, if I've got young lawyers, I have a couple right now that I'm helping out that are still in law school, local people. And I try to do everything I can to help them out, give them advice. Even, some of them work for me for internships and things. And I think it's important that you do that, because I got help.
Right. Now, speaking of having young lawyers in your office, you just have a new one, which is also a KISTLER, correct?
Yes. My son, Kevin KISTLER, just became a lawyer, like I said, in January. He went to school at Texas A&M Law School, and he'd gone to school at, he went to business school at New York University. And so he knows about business, he knows about finance, and he's the one that said I was crazy for opening my own office, because in business school, they would tell you don't do it, okay? And that's why I'm not recommending all of our people go to business school, because sometimes business school will tell you to do things. I'm sure there's a lot of famous people out there that have great businesses that the business school would have told them, don't open it, So I'm very much encouraging you, listen, go for it. Just be smart. Just be smart, and we can help you, and the show can help you. Listen up, and there's books you can read, there's things you can do. Do it smart, but I don't want to discourage people from opening their own business, because it can be done, and I'm living proof.
Well, one of the best advice I got from a very good friend was stick to people that you could learn from. The people that take away from you, separate yourself, but get too close to people that you can learn from. And that's very important, because we're saying we don't want to encourage anyone not to open a business, but what we would like is for people to understand that, if you open a business, it might not be successful, but that's okay. If you fail once, I don't consider it failure. I call it a learning experience. You learn what you did wrong, so the second time around, you don't do that again. And
you're 100% right. 100% right.
My question is, how is it working with your son?
Well, it's pretty good. This is the thing. I have another lawyer there as well. And we have, they separate them. And sometimes I may be a little bit harder on him, to be honest with you. Like I was bragging about the other lawyer today and saying, hey, I sometimes give him a hard time. It's a little bit tough, because I think I'm harder on him, to be honest with you. I think we all get like that. When you have kids, I'm like the little league dad, I guess. I'm thinking, I could, I did this and it was tougher for when I did it. But I do like the fact that, it's nice to have somebody that you say, hey, you know what, I can pass this on to you. I want you to do this. And there is something nice about that, having family in there. Some people don't like it. I do. I like family. I feel like the people in my office are family, the people that work with us, all of them, I know them. I know their kids. We all get along very well. So I do feel like they're all family. And so, but it is okay. I think, I hope he likes it. He just bought a new house in Quartz Hill. And so we're helping him move all his stuff, because he's coming out there. So he's going to become a true well, he'll be actually a Lancaster person because I guess Fort Sale is Lancaster, but he's riding the border there. He'll be very close to our new office, so he'll be right there. So it is kind of nice working there. And I told him, I said, look, there's no better place to work than the Elk Valley. Once you get used to it, I love it. You know.
Well, it's easy to get used to because the streets are big. You can drive nice. You have no issues. And for an automobile lawyer, it's beautiful because people drive like maniacs.
They were racing on the 14. Today when I was driving the 14, and I swear there's a drag race is going on with about 4 cars. And I'm saying, man, I guess the highway patrol is taking naps because these guys are just going crazy lately. And it is a little too much. And I'm saying, please slow down. You guys don't understand what happens if you guys crash at those speeds. But it has been nuts. You've seen it. We've got a lot of that we do have a lot of that. And unfortunately, I guess that is our business, but I don't want anybody speeding. I don't want anybody to have an accident. Please don't do that. But what you're saying, Badito, is true. You don't have to pay for parking like downtown. You pay a fortune just to park your car. Here you can park anywhere.
And, I want to say a quick shout out to some of the people that are watching us right now. Sandra Flores, buenas noches, good night, good evening.
Hi, Sandra.
And Rocio Nieto Estrada, hello. But one thing that I didn't think about this until you brought it up was, I think about KISTLER Law Firm. It's a law firm, it's lawyers, they do everything. But you brought up a very good point. It's a business. It's also a business. And, tell me a little bit about how, when after you open your first one and you decide to do it again, what was going through your mind and what was the difference?
Well, I'll tell you the difference is that before, like I told you, it was kind of like feast or famine. You get, oh, good, I got some business, I got some money. And my mindset changed a lot because what I realized is this: you need to have a cash flow. And this is one of the things that business is. You really got to be thinking about, what I talk about is your money, your finances. Okay, you have a business. Where's the money coming? What's your revenue streams coming in? And you got to have that money coming in because you got to pay the bills, okay? And your bills are usually done, you usually do at least monthly, your rent. You got to pay your employees once a week, once every 2 weeks. And you don't want to be the guy, you don't want to be a business that's always behind and always going to the, trying to pull money out of what little savings you've got and that kind of person. I didn't want to be that person. So basically what we do is the change that I made was that I started looking at like every month, we are bringing in amount of money that's going to cover everything. So, and we look at that, and I actually have that. So in the back of my mind, I'm looking at how are we doing right now? How many new clients do we have coming in? How much is our income right now? And I know there's a certain amount that has to be there because that's what we need to pay our bills to make sure everything's done. We've got to pay for our advertising. We've got to pay for this. All these things need to be taken care of. They can't just be kicked down the road, okay? And I think that a lot of people, they don't really think about it like that and say, if it's not coming in, then why isn't it coming in? Why aren't you doing those things? If you have a restaurant or something like that, gee, maybe you need to open up breakfast. I don't know. Something's got to change so that your money's coming in. And for me, what we did, our business is kind of strange because we don't get, when I do personal injury law, it's on a contingency. So if you come in with a car accident, you don't pay me any money now. In fact, you'll never pay me. The money will come in from the insurance company, but it's usually months later. It could be a year later for a lot of cases. It could be 2 years later, depending on the case. And so we don't see any of that money. And so what you need to do is have a turnover every month of, we do a very good job of doing we're pretty efficient in our office. We're very efficient about, and our clients love that because they don't want to wait forever. We try to do it as fast as we can. We know how to work the insurance companies to pay as soon as possible. But we try to make sure that money's coming in. So I think with every business, you really got to think about it. What's the cash flow? And I'll tell you, it's so much of a nice feeling to know that the money's, that you're making the money, everything's taken care of. And then, okay, great. Now you've got extra money. That's fantastic. But first, make sure that you've got that steady stream of money coming in. And so I think everybody that's got a business, think about how you're going to accomplish that. what do you do and how are you going to accomplish that? Because if it's just about, well, occasionally I make some money, or gee, I might get that big case someday. If you do that, that's how you go broke. Okay. And that's what it's about making a steady stream of money.
Wow. Here, Rosario brought up a good question for you. She says, question, why did you become a lawyer? Because you're passionate or because of the good pay?
Well, here's the thing. The good pay, there was not good pay at the beginning. So at the beginning of becoming a lawyer, there was no good pay with that. It's kind of funny because I would say I'm passionate. I think that's probably the best answer. And I think that is the answer. And I would almost extend that to my office, because the people in my office, even the ones that aren't lawyers, if you listen to them talk, okay, they sometimes get very upset about the insurance companies if they don't think they're treating a client fairly. Okay, they get very upset sometimes. They're like, why are they doing that to him? Don't they know he was hurt? And they really started getting into that feeling about the clients, almost. And I almost think, wow, you just, but I see the passion for it. I think that the passion is what you need really to do any business. If you don't really love what you're doing, then don't open a business doing that, because you're just going to be, it's a very lousy job. I mean, that's what it is. You've got to just have a very lousy job. If you love, baking cakes, or you love styling hair, then great. Then you got a wonderful thing. And now we'll work on the business to make sure you make money doing that. But the passion is there. You love doing it. And to be honest with you, I don't have to go, oh my God, I've got to go in the office today. This is so horrible. It's like, no, I love meeting with people. And in fact, let me give them my email. It's paul@kistler.law. Very easy. paul@KISTLER.law. If you guys say, hey, Paul, I got a question about a business, feel free. That's my personal email, and I would love to talk with you. So, and in fact, in my office, we care about people. That's really what we are. We're not a big corporate lawyers. We care about people, and we love the people out here in the Antelope Valley. So I think it's clearly passion. Money, yes, money's great. And trust me, you need money to stay in business, We all need money, or the lights go off and they kick us out, But having that passion is what you need.
That's awesome. And it's very true, because like I said, I've met your staff. Your staff's awesome. At all the events we've done with them, you've always been part of the major events here in the Antelope Valley. And, I reached out to you, and right away you said, sure, sign me up. And that really meant a lot to me and to the program, because it's like, you are a successful person here in the Antelope Valley. And, it's awesome that you could share your time with us and give us some advice and let us get to know you a little bit better. And, found out that you grew up in the San Fernando Valley. I grew up in San Fernando Valley. Your kids went to Van Nuys High, Wolfpack Pride right here with Van Nuys High. And, it's just like that, how you really don't realize how similar you are to everyone. We're in different avenues of business, whatever, but everyone's similar in a way. And all you got to do is reach out and talk to people. And I think that for an entrepreneur, that's the main thing, is not to be afraid to talk to people, not to be afraid to ask you, hey, Paul, you might be on my program, or, or like yourself, ask Kuzik Law, hey, the Antelope Valley, where do I begin? How do I get started? And that's all it takes, is just the courage to ask. And that's very important.
Yeah, I agree totally.
And what's one of the hardest things as a businessman you had to you faced so far?
Well, obviously the first 15 years, it was all about money. It was really about getting money from, just to support, just to run the business. A lot of the other things, and that, I guess, let me mention this about marketing, because I'm going to bring that up too, is that one of the things I've learned, and really I've learned this more in the last 15 years, and to be honest with you, this is kind of right up your alley, is marketing, because a lot of lawyers are terrible marketers, and I was one of them, okay? So a lot of people, they just really don't understand that people have to know what you do, where you are, and a lot of, professionals, we'll call them lawyers, doctors, accountants, traditionally have not really marketed their stuff. They just assume people would find them, okay? And suddenly now we've got lawyers marketing very well, of course, but you have to market yourself. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, because I think a lot of the stuff that we do, we do events, we go to, we help support like the Little Leagues here, the American Indian Little League. We do some of the other ones, the soccer teams, Sam Roman's boxing. We'd love to do all that stuff. The events that hopefully we're going to start having some events coming up. I think we do. All those kinds of things for the community, the Cinco de Mayo, all these things that people are doing. These are things that are marketing in a way, but they're really kind of things that we feel help the community too, to get together. And, we want to be a part of it. That's really what business is. It's not a bad thing. I think some people think business is bad, but really, we're all helping each other. I mean, I go to the same restaurants, I buy the same things from people, and my clients are people that, most of them are the ones that fix my car. They do this, these are they cut my hair. I get my hair cut right down there on Palmdale Boulevard. The same people there. We all work together. And so I think it's a really good thing.
And one thing, big shout out to Sam Roman. He's another mentor of mine. One thing he's always taught me when we talk about marketing is the biggest mistake people do is when you're being successful, you forget to market. You're like, I don't need to market. I already have business. I already have clients. But when you don't have clients and you want to market, you don't have the money to market, and that's the biggest mistake. And it makes so much sense, because, when everything's going good, and you have that extra money, that's when you should invest in your business, invest in marketing, and get it out there. That's key point. And one of the things is, like I said, KISTLER Law Firm is very good in marketing. You're out there everywhere. All the events, you are proud sponsors. You've also sponsored our wrestling events, our Lucha Libre out here. Yeah. And you are a very successful marketing person. And, it's awesome to hear how at the beginning you learned the hard way, starting your own office and everything, but now you've actually saw the way to do it. But let me ask you this: in those 15 years, not only were you dealing with a business, but you were also dealing with a family. How hard was it, family and business?
Tough. It's very tough. This is the hard thing. I mean, it's hard to say, I talk to people like, if you're young and you're not married, you don't have kids, then I say go for it, because it's the best time in your life to do it. Unfortunately, that a lot of them don't do it. And I did have that opportunity. Once, if I had gotten a job right out of law school, let's say I had gotten a good job, a good offer, and I'd taken a job, I'm not sure that I would have, even though I wouldn't have been happy. I think I'm much happier being an entrepreneur. It's really what I'm about. But I think it's very hard to leave once you have that comfort of, okay, I have this job and I got the money, and what if I don't have this? What if I don't have that? And the good thing that I had going for me, now, I didn't have any kids when I got to law school. I just got married. My partner just got married. Both of us had just gotten married, okay? So, but, my wife worked, which kind of saved us a little bit because there wasn't money coming in much. So for those first few years, I mean, quite frankly, it's hard because, I don't care how supportive your spouse is, they expect you to be doing, they expect something to be coming in. Trust me, I know it's very difficult, and that's going to be something that's very difficult. You really have to consider your family when you do this, okay? And some families are all in. Some families will say, hey, you know what, you want to open this? We'll all work there, and that's great. Or we're all there. But it is tough. And I mean, honestly, it was tough for my wife because she's not a lawyer. She's not involved in this business at all. She doesn't really know. So we did have a couple of very tough years. I've been married, as long as I've been married, almost next year will be 30 years. And that's about how long I've been a lawyer. So, so about the same thing. So I survived both of them. Okay. And so it is tough. And so I would say that you probably have to take that. I'd have to take that in consideration. I'm not saying that it can't be done because I did it. Okay. You can survive it, but it's something to consider. That's why I'm saying as a business plan is important, because you might say, hey, look, we're going to have to struggle here for a year or two. And is this something that we're both on board with, maybe you can get you can do something to lessen that. But for most businesses, you don't start making money right off the bat, even if it's tough. There's a lot of expenses that start off with. That's why you need to take consideration is, gee, what do I need to get going? And later on, now my wife doesn't complain anymore. She's not complaining because things have gone well, but she forgets all those tough times. I remind her, I say, you remember I used to be, and now after you go past that, after you get over that hump, you realize that. Now, am I a guy that, I realize I'm kind of a guy that doesn't spend money crazily, and I don't go, I realize that money's pretty damn hard to get, I think we all know that I come from that area where, hey, you don't just go throwing your money around, you need to be smart with what you've got. And I do think, I think that's also important too. You've got to be grateful for everything that you get. Be thankful for in our case, our clients, we're very grateful to them. We also, by the way, we are very strong about getting repeat business. Our clients are our biggest source of advertising. They bring in friends and family because we do a good job for them, and right. So that's something that we would work on. That's part of our marketing. But I'm really grateful to them. And so that's what survived us. I would say if it's going to be tough, if somebody just came in the studio now and said, gee, I want to start a business, and I'd say, I would probably not try to scare them off, but the truth of the matter is it's going to be a little tough. It's going to be it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, you're not going to be like Bill Gates, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be the Steve Jobs or the Elon Musk. That takes, that doesn't happen overnight. You're going to probably struggle for quite a while, and hopefully you can survive it.
Exactly. One of the things I've realized, speaking with a lot of entrepreneurs and speaking a lot with business people, that actually you don't really start being successful in a business until the 5th year. The first year, second year, third year, yeah, you make a little bit of money, but the 5th year is when you really, if you made it to the 5th year and you keep going strong, you actually are doing it right. So that's why I tell a lot of people, don't be impatient. It's going to take a while. Don't get discouraged on the first strike, because a lot of people, we've all stricken out the first time, second time, 3 times. But what matters is you keep going. And like I said, there's no such thing as failure. For me, it's a learning experience. You learn what you did wrong and you learn how to better that. And, the best advice that you're giving us, Paul, is a business plan, mentor. And that's very important because you want to have a person that you could ask for their advice. You want to have that person that you could go to. And, and another thing is read. You always should keep reading books. Keep your mind learning. Keep everything learning. And what's one of the things that you like to do to keep your mind busy? After all this, the law firm, family, what do you like to do to... Do you like to read, or do you watch TV? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, for years, okay, my sons played sports. I used to help coach basketball, those kinds of sports. Now they've gotten too old, and now they're off to college. So that's the thing. I'm very much into sports. In fact, I'm already kind of looking because I know the Lakers are getting ready, right? So I like to watch sports. I like to, we love to go out. We travel a lot. We do what we travel locally a lot too. Maybe go up to Lake Tahoe, go up to Mammoth. As far as books, which you mentioned, there's some very good books out there. I like to read too, by the way. And now I've gotten hooked on books on audio because it's even easier. Because now that I'm getting old, I actually have to walk around and they make me walk and stuff. So what I can do is I can listen to the books on tape, and they have it. And there's some very good books. I recommend a few that I think are really good. For you guys. I don't know if you want to recommend anything. I have some books that I thought about. One of the books, there's a guy named Michael Michaelwitz who has a bunch of books out. One of them is called Profit First. He's got a series. He's got a book called The Pumpkin Plan. He's got a couple books, and they're really, really good for entrepreneurs that are really tell you, it kind of lays it out, how some really good ideas for guys that are just starting out, and he will also help out. He'll email you stuff, but his name is Michael Witz. And the book is Profit First. Another book that I would recommend would be The E-Myth, which is the entrepreneur myth. And it's by a guy named Michael, I believe it's Michael Gerber. And that's another book. And that lays it out kind of like what they look at business. It's more for the management of a business, but it tells you kind of a step-by-step guide for people who almost like a checklist, like if I was to say, gee, I want to have my own radio station. Okay, well, this is what you do. Step one is you do this, step two. And he says, like, for the jobs that you have in your business, you kind of lay it out like that. If you have a restaurant, gee, I want this guy to do things. And it's very good at running things. It's been very helpful for me in having people to do their jobs and things in our office, because that way I know things don't get missed. We're very careful about making sure, like when we just hired a receptionist, and we want to make sure that she does the things that we need her to do and that she knows what it is that's expected of her. And so we have it all put down. So we want to give them something where they don't go, gee, what should I do now? Or I don't know how to handle this. We try to look at all those contingencies. And I think that when you run a business like that, you don't make those mistakes. The basic stuff all gets covered very well. So those are two books I would recommend. And they're both pretty easy reading books. These aren't going to be books that you're going to go, oh my God, this is some, huge textbook from Wharton Law, business school. These are simple things that, I would listen to it when I'm walking around the park or something like that,
That's awesome. So it's the E-Myth and Profit First.
Yes.
Goes up. They sound very interesting. And, but tell us a little bit now, Paul, about your new office, because you've been for a while over here by the new hospital by
right.
Palm, so you're actually moving from there to a new office.
Yes, we are very excited. We've been in this office. We were in this office that we're in now, the one that we're still in, since 2012. We moved in. I love it. It's it's right behind the Tom's restaurant there. It's in the building there. We're on the second floor. We like it, but I wanted to buy a building out here, but I really, I felt that it was time to do that. We need more space. The building that we have is right there. If you were coming from Palmdale on 14, you'd make a right turn on Avenue N, and the first left, that's right at the corner there. It's a relatively new building. It was, it used to be, I was thinking it used to be an insurance company that was there before. You may know them, but it's a very nice building. It's perfectly set up for what we've got. It's going to have lots of space for everything that we need to do. In fact, if we need to have people come in we've got a big conference room, a big, huge room. We could have some people come in, some of the entrepreneurs, if they want to have a meeting, we'll be happy to host it, and we're going to have a nice open house when we do it. But this gives us a room. We've got plenty of room to expand and bring in, we were running out of room there for a while, then before COVID hit. Then everybody's working at home. So we lost everybody. We were packed. We were bringing in tables and chairs. We were so packed for a while, and then all of a sudden everybody's working at home. Now they're starting to come back. So I kind of like having people around. It's fun for a while working at home, but I think it is nice to be in our office, and everybody's saying that they're tired of it too. The kids are going back to school now, I think, probably in the fall. So we're going to need our space back again. So hopefully things will be back to normal.
Right. Now, speaking of COVID, how was this 1 year for you business-wise and personally?
Tough. It was very tough. At the beginning, what we did was, like I said, I had it. Nobody really knew what was going to happen this year. I don't think we were ready for it. Once I started hearing things, I said, okay, we were set up luckily so that people could work from home. We have computers, we have a case management software, we have things, and basically we had everybody take their laptops home, and we didn't have to let anybody go. And everybody was able to work for the first, almost the whole year. We were able to have people answer the phones, do their work. And the hard part was we just didn't get as many cases because, let's face it, everybody's at home, nobody's driving. And so cases slowed down, and we still had, what we would do is we would have some people in the office, but we would hardly have anybody there. So we kept it so it was pretty safe. Most people were at home, and little by little, everybody's, people they're starting to come back. And, but it was a tough year. I think I think it wasn't devastating. I think I feel bad if you're a restaurant and you're completely out of business, because we were able to keep working. You know, it wasn't. I mean, we tried our best. I didn't want to let people go. We did close down 1 day a week, and so what we were able to do was give them. We still were able to pay them for that time because we wanted everybody. So I think everybody kind of survived it, but it was, you know, I can see even this year it's slowed. It's still slowed down a little bit because. So we're hoping to get back to where we were, because we were doing great, and then all of a sudden the COVID hits, and then, you know, and a few, you know, it was devastating, I think, for everyone, though, isn't it? And I know the area, all the businesses, and I think the businesses that were able to stay alive. I mean, I don't know how many. We probably don't even know yet how many businesses we lost. You know, I know a lot of them were having trouble. We're trying to support them because we tried to, when we had some people in the office, we would try to go to the rest. We would try to order in, you know, take out the food and stuff at a lot of the restaurants, and we were trying to, you know, give them some shout outs so people would still, because it's hard because they can't have anybody dining in there. It was all takeout. So, but I think that we did okay. I think we're going to be fine. It'll be a little bit rough, I know, for probably the next 6 months. It will still be a little bit rough, but hopefully by the end of the year, I think we should be back to normal.
Wow. And you know what? That's really awesome that, you know, you did your best to keep people employed and keep people on payroll, which is really hard for you because, like you were saying, in your business, yes, you'll be busy, but you kind of front all the money that goes out because you got to wait for that money to come in, and sometimes it takes a year or half a year, and you were able to do that. So, you know, that's really awesome in your part, man. That's why we have a saying in Spanish where we say, it's not luck, it's blessings. You know? And that, you know, when you do good, you get blessed, you get those blessings back, and you're able to do everything. And that's another thing I tell young entrepreneurs. You also should maintain humble. Always be humble. Always don't think that you're more than what you really are. You want to maintain that level of being humble. And, you know, give back. You have to give back. Even if it's like you said, a little league baseball team, sponsor that. You're giving back. The more you give back, the more it comes back to you as well. And, you know, you're one of the persons that gives back to a lot to the community here in the Antelope Valley. And, you know, and I'm very happy that you know, everything's going good, and, you know, new building. So that kind of sounds like there's going to be a party over there, and, you know, we'll be cracking.
You're all welcome. Yes, we'd love to see you guys. You know, when you bring that up, I think one of the guys that exemplifies what you're saying is Sam. We mentioned Sam Roman, who's a good friend of both of ours. And Sam is a very humble man, and he does give back. He's a very successful businessman, and he does well. But I'll tell you, the guy, he's always there for whatever you need. And so he's a guy that I think a lot of people in the community could look up to. You know, I think he's what you're talking about when we're talking about somebody like that. You know, he is a humble man who doesn't forget where he's from, and he really does care about the community. So I think we're lucky that we got people like that in the community.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. Like I say, I see him as a mentor also, and he's very passionate about what he does. He's very passionate about the community, and, you know, the only thing that I dislike about Sam Roman is that I've had him booked about 5 times on the show, and he cancels at the last moment. He does not like doing interviews, or he does not like coming on camera. So, you know, I told him, next time, Sam, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show up in your office and do the live stream from your office while you're there.
Do it from his gym. Do it from the gym in there. He'll be more comfortable, you know.
You know?
No, he's a humble guy. You know what? Sometimes that's true. People like that, I don't think he likes to be the center of attention, you know. And I really appreciate that about him, because I think that's what really people, you know, you see a lot of people, I've met people over time like that do a lot and these things, and they don't want to be the big shots. They don't want to be the guys running, and they are like that. So I think that's what we want. We want business people that are going to be successful, that are going to be able to do well in this community. And I think that's what's going to make Palmdale and the Antelope Valley really special. You know, I think we got chances I think we can make things really good here in the coming years. I really do. I mean, I'm investing my kid in here. He's going to be here, okay? And so after I'm gone, he's going to be here. So we're not going anywhere. We figured this is our place. And I've been blessed by it. And by the way, also, I want to say I've been blessed with good staff too, because the people in my office, I mean, honestly, when you're saying me, you're really meaning them. because they're the ones out there doing a lot of stuff. I mean, they're really out there. The people in there, they're really pushing, and they're the ones that kept us afloat during these hard times.
But you know what they say, the staff is only as good as its leader, you know. And when you have a strong leader and you have a strong boss, you have someone that gives you the right example and gives you the right motivation, your staff will go everywhere and do everything possible for you. And that speaks, when you have such a good staff, that speaks very good about you, you know. Okay. That's the bottom line. You know, you have to motivate your staff. You have to give them that incentive to do well. And that's why your staff is real successful, because you are a very good person with them. You know, if you were a bad boss, your staff wouldn't care. They just show up, get the check, and see you next week. But your staff, every time I ran into them, they speak highly of you. They you know, they always tell me, hey, you really got to talk to Paul. He's a really great guy. And you know, I just haven't had the chance until recently when we started this program in English. And but I think we'll have you on the Spanish one. So you got to start reading Spanish books, learn how to speak Spanish.
Now, we've got people in here. In fact, we've got, Sonia, I think Sonia wants to come in and work with you guys too. So she'll be coming in and doing some stuff too. She really doesn't. She's always, so we do have a pretty, you know, we're very bilingual. Let's face it. The Palmdale, I mean, this is a Hispanic town. Okay. So we have, you can't, you know, this is what we have a lot of that. So we don't have a problem with that at all. And I'm from here, so it's not, you know, I tell people, I say, the reality is I'm very comfortable with this, you know. I mean, when you grew up in San Fernando, you know, Canoga Park, I grew up in I'm very comfortable in this type of environment. I like it. And I feel like I understand the people. And the good thing about, to be honest with you, Hispanic clients are, they're very loyal. They're very family oriented. So we have like, you know, honestly, they're like a lot of our clients, I mean, they're like families. We've represented them, and later they're friends, and you know, they come in with stuff, you know, and we're always, I mean, you have a good feel with the people here. And I think it's not quite so much like the typical business like in LA, you know. It's a little bit different here. I think that it's kind of nice, you know. People just it's nicer. I think I like it better, you know. It's not so formal, I guess is the word, you know.
You know, I grew up in Van Nuys. I moved out here in 2009, and when people tell me, why do you like living in the Antelope Valley, and I tell them, you know, once you pass Acton and you come over that hill and you see the lake right there, for some reason, as soon as I pass that, I feel like a relief. Like, yes, pressure is gone, and you're coming into a valley, and you're like, you know, oh, it feels very, very different. And that's how it is out here. I tell people it's like that out here, you know, where everything's more laid back. I see it more laid back, and, you know, I love it. I love it out here. Recently, we moved from Palmdale. I moved out here to Little Rock, where I love it here more because I live in the older part of Little Rock where we don't even have street lights out here. So it's nice, and you can see the stars at night.
I've got a billboard right outside of Little Rock. You probably see it if you drive out. If you go by, I know Little Rock very well. So actually, I've got a couple of people. I got one that lives at Lake LA, one's at Little Rock, and so we know that area very well. We have a lot of clients out there. So it's you know what, that's even a more, you know, because that community, of course, they have stuff going on out there all the time too. So it's kind of a fun place. And it's kind of different, you know. It's different than being, like you said, Van Nuys is very different, you know. This is it. You have to get used to it, but I mean, it's kind of what I was about. It's funny because my dad, like an aircraft, I think he would have moved out here had he had the opportunity, because this is more like he was used to. He likes the desert. I do too. I guess I'm kind of claustrophobic when I get in the city, you know. I like open spaces, you know. I like this kind of area. So I think that's what's good. And it's just not, we just don't have the friction that you get when you're downtown, you know. I mean, it's just very dog over there, you know. I dealt with that for a long time, you know. It's too much.
Yeah, and like you said, and out here it's much nicer, and you don't gotta pay for high parking.
Yes, exactly. Nobody needs that.
Mr. KISTLER, I want to say thank you once again, and thank you for all the great advice you gave us. People will be seeing this on YouTube and everything afterwards as well. And this advice is valuable, my friends. You know,
listen, anytime. It's an honor to be on here with the show. I love the show, and I think that what you're doing is really good. Like I said, if anybody asks, if they got any questions for me, I'm not the sharpest guy in the world, but I'm more than happy to help you with anything. And I would encourage entrepreneurs. I really think that's the backbone of this country is entrepreneurs, the small business people, and that's what we're all about here. And that's what, and I agree with that. That's what we should be doing.
Exactly. And we'll see you July 1st or around that time to the grand opening. We're going to crash that party so everyone having you in.
Perfect. Yes. Right over there. We'll be happy to see you guys. We'll publicize when we're going to have a nice big opening with the chambers there. We'll probably have the Hispanic chamber, the chambers. We're going to plan on doing that, and we'd love to have everybody come out. And like I said, don't be a stranger. Once we open up, if you say, "Hey, I got something," don't feel it. We're friends and family. Okay, so if you need something, you let me know. Okay.
You got it. So have a great evening, Paul, and thank you very much again. And like I said, we're here. Whatever you need for KISTLER Law Firm, count us in. And we got your back. I know you got ours.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Take care now.